Spain and how impressive they were as they got past Italy in dominating fashion. In the first game at these European Championship, not the first game, but the first game Spain competed in Croatia, we applauded their performance and the result, not because of how dominant they were necessarily, but I applauded their performance based on the professionalism, the new sense of verticality that we saw from the team, and a little bit of new sense of dynamism, verticality, directness, and their ability to be very, very clinical. And I really applauded their performance. It was a professional victory, and and they got a victory getting outpossessed, which I never thought I'd see a day that Spain get outpossessed by another national team. Maybe if they go up against a full-fledged Brazil, maybe then, I could see them getting outpossessed by a fellow national team, but against the likes of a Croatia, I was surprised by that. But they still won, and they won in dominant fashion. This game, I would say that game finished 3-0. This game finished 1-0, but I think this game was much, much more dominant, because in that game, Croatia created a plenitude of opportunities. It was really a back and forth game. Spain would have a chance, Croatia would have a chance. The only difference was Spain took their chances while Croatia didn't. But Croatia didn't come out of the game saying, "Oh, this is just a team that's outclassed us. They're just much better than us. We can't play with them." I didn't get that feeling at all from that Croatia team. They had their chances in that game. They had brilliant chances. They just, certain moments, they were daft defensively. Very just bad mistakes defensively at certain areas of the pitch, losing individual battles. This game, Spain took on Italy, and man, I just want to say this was retro, vintage Spain. Completely dominate in terms of possession, midfield, completely dominated the game. A lot of tiki-taka style of play in terms of possession-based, trying to break down an Italian team that didn't necessarily want to go in. I don't know. I'm not Spalletti, but I don't believe Italy came into this game, trying to go back to their old ways of just defend. I think Spain forced them in that low block in the way of how just dominant they were, how much of a struggle it was for Italy to come out when they won the ball. It was Spain would control the ball for 5, 8, 9, 10 straight minutes, and as soon as Italy were finally able to regain, a Spanish player was right there high up, pressing the field and regaining the ball, and then went back to the process of possession, controlling possession. And there was a little bit of an element of directness in there too, with Lamine Yamal and Nico Williams, who gave Giovanni De Lorenzo gave him probably the worst night of his career, especially in that first half. Oh my goodness, Giovanni De Lorenzo was absolutely cooked and battered every which way. He put him in a roaster and barbecued him, because Giovanni De Lorenzo had no chance. I mean, Nico Williams cutting in, cutting out, nutmegs, just was completely torching De Lorenzo on that left-hand side. And eventually, at a forced either a Fratesi or most of the time it was a Fratesi to help out De Lorenzo, because just one-on-one it was just not happening. It was just Nico Williams all the way. Lamine Yamal, with his ability to, he was very good, he was very direct, he was putting in some good balls, and they just couldn't get that goal on the goal sheet. I think Morata, he didn't really find themselves in much dangerous positions, in my opinion. Not enough positions to really make that Italian center-back partnership feel fair. I think Italy's and most of their general play, most of their general fear that they gave that Italian backline Spain was through the wingers, was through the verticality of the wingers and how dominant they were midfield-wise. I think Morata didn't really find themselves in that in good areas. I think Calafiori and Bastoni did a very, very good job of, cutting out the space for Morata in between the channels. But yeah, it just, you never thought Italy was really in this game until the end. Until the last 10 minutes, Italy did start to turn it on and create a few opportunities for themselves. But far from them. I mean, you look at the stats and, they semi-tell the story, because I don't think the stats, the stats show 20 shots to Spain, 4 shots to Italy, 9 shots on target for Spain, 1 shot on Italy, 58% possession for Spain, 42% for Italy. It seemed a little bit more dominant. I mean, in that first half, if it is 0-0, I believe it was like 11 shots for Spain, none for Italy. And, the biggest positive that Italy had after that first half was the fact that it was still 0-0. And they did a very good job of defending, putting their life on the line, defending all their lives, because they had no opportunity to really do anything else but defend. They were defending the entire half. But yeah, it was just I was pleasantly disappointed in Italy, because we saw the style of play that we saw in that first game against Albania, yes, against weaker opposition, but we saw an Italy team that was able to put men forward, to play with courage, to play really well in transition. You saw the likes of Chiesa return to his kind of European form of the last Euros, and it was really good from them. And then in this game, they really struggled to get out. I mean, once they regained the ball, it seemed like it was, the amount of times that the Italians lost the ball on their own half of the pitch was outstanding, because the Spanish press was amazing. It was absolutely brilliant performance. I think, in my opinion, I watched a lot of Spain games since Luis de la Fuente came in through the European qualifiers, Nations League, these European Championships. I think this has to be the best performance from the beginning to the get-go, because it was just really, really dominant. And I was impressed with them in the first game because of what they showed, their verticality. And I think this game is proof to me that this is a legit team that really could win the European Championship, because if you can control the midfield the way that they can. Because the thing with the Spain team the biggest thing with the Spain, so we watched the first game and we saw the direct element, the verticality and all that, and we're like, okay, that's good. They can win in different ways, they can be clinical, but can they still go back to their ways of being able to possession orient? Because that could be important in certain areas. Certain times you're gonna need to be able to slow down a game and to really control the ball possession wise and really suffocate a team in certain times against certain opponents. And we needed to see, do they still have that element that they can do that on this big stage? And they proved today that they still can play that tiki-taka style of way, but they can also change it up and be vertical and be direct. And when you have that sort of flexibility, man, that makes you a very, very dangerous team, because it gives you a way to attack certain opponents. If you're going up against opponents with a low block, okay, you've shown that you can control possession, that you can be able to find a breakthrough. Now, if you play against a team that'll open up against you, you've shown that you could be also clinical, that you can take advantage in transition. You really can play in multiple different ways. And in a tournament like this, with the squad that they have, with the brilliant talent that they have, to be able to do that, it makes them a deadly, deadly team. It makes them a deadly team at this European Championship. Now, as far as Italy, yes, concerning, a little bit of a concerning performance. I think the way that they defended is really, really good. And to be fair, they didn't actually concede a goal, to be honest. The goal that they conceded was fairly unlucky. Donnarumma makes a save, but it deflects off Calafiori into the net. It's an own goal. Obviously, the Spaniards created their luck with the way that they dominated the game, but it was an own goal. That's how Spain were able to break through an own goal. But yeah, it was just a little concerning, the fact that they weren't a little bit more clinical in transition. It seemed like when they won the ball back a few times, I thought they could be more clean in the way that they transition. I thought the way that they got out could have been more fluid, but it was just very, very lackluster. But it is a lot of these players' first time on this big stage, and well, not first time on this big stage, but this is a team that's a little bit in the transition. So I'm not gonna completely say it's the end of the hill. Now they have a very good test in next week going up against Croatia. I think we'll figure out a lot about this team then, and it's gonna be interesting to see if they're able to get back to that Albania way against Croatia, because I think Croatia is a team that will give you more of a test that you had against Albania, but not as deadly as Spain. And I don't think Croatia will be able to dominate Italy the way Spain were able to.